Kobe, given his past success on the road to Indy, do you think last year showed Sting Ray Robb's true potential in IndyCar? And do you believe he'll improve with Foyt with this new alliance going forward?
Yeah, I think the new alliance is definitely the most exciting thing here for a young driver like Sting Ray Robb, being able to work with the captain, Roger Penske, Team Penske, and everything that they bring to the table. And before this alliance came about, going to Foyt might seem like, I just want to be on the IndyCar grid. I just want to be there just to say that I'm on the IndyCar grid for the upcoming season. But now AJ Foyt Racing has suddenly become a place where you want to be. The alliance with Team Penske is very exciting. Even Sting Ray said in some of his comments after announcing the signing that he was looking forward to being with Foyt because he can study, the likes of Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, and Scott McLaughlin, try to learn from them and make himself in this AJ Foyt Racing team a lot better. I'm not sure how much AJ Foyt Racing is going to improve in 2024, but based on all of the moving parts they have in place, there's, as I say, there's nowhere to go but up. And yeah, looking at people's past success on the road to Indy, it's a really interesting thing because you've seen in some cases where someone looks really good on the road to Indy, and then they get to IndyCar and it didn't really look good. Like thinking examples like Spencer Pigot or like an Oliver Askew. Although I don't think Oliver really got a true chance to show what he can do in the NTT IndyCar series, and it seemed like his chances have started to dry up quite a bit. But yeah, Sting Ray Robb, he did look like a really good young driver on the road to Indy. Thought he could potentially be a feature star in the IndyCar series, and there's nothing saying that he can't reclaim that potential because I think he was in a bad situation last year at Delcoin Racing. Delcoin lost some really good people from that organization, so last year was basically like a rebuilding year. Getting some more young people in place, try to bring this Delcoin Racing program back up to the level where we would expect it to be. Sometimes playing spoiler on race weekends. So I think that for a rookie driver like Sting Ray Robb to go to an organization that lost some really good people and in the process of rebuilding, it just wasn't working out for Sting Ray at all. So maybe the move to AJ Foyt Racing can do him some good.
Sting Ray's had a very interesting career trajectory, and I think a lot of people might forget this. I know Luis Torres certainly hasn't, but the K&N West Series race in Meridian, we mentioned he's an Idaho native, Sting Ray Robb is. Sting Ray Robb was in that race, the K&N West race in Meridian that Haley Deegan won in 2018, and now he's come back to the open wheel route. He's gone up through the road to Indy, now has this opportunity to kind of be part of this rebuild here at AJ Foyt Racing. And, it's always struck me, I've always kind of been a little bit surprised at how AJ Foyt Racing isn't one of the top teams that we talk about. For whatever reason, their performance just hasn't been there in the last several years. And, for a name like Foyt, obviously that's just as synonymous with success in this sport as the Penske's, Ganassis, and Andretti's of the world. As an owner, AJ Foyt Racing has not necessarily had that same level of success. But now that they have this alliance with Team Penske going forward, and they have a talented young prospect and driver in Sting Ray Robb, it would not surprise me at all. And I think we saw some flashes of it at the Indianapolis 500 this year, with Santino Ferrucci in particular. I think this team has a lot of potential, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see in 2024 exactly how Sting Ray Robb's able to adapt to this new environment. But simply adding Robb to the team may not be as straightforward as it seems, with the futures of Ferrucci and Benjamin Pedersen still up in the air. Now, Pedersen previously signed a multi-year deal with Foyt, but as we've seen with Alex Palou, for sure, and also Roman Grosjean and Callum Ilott, that doesn't really mean much of anything these days. Contracts are really just words on paper. According to Marshall Pruitt from Racer.com, Robb's renumbered number 41 is set to replace Pedersen's number 55, based out of a shop in Speedway, Indiana, home of Foyt Engineering Department, led by Michael Cannon. Now, a statement from Benjamin Pedersen, and here it is. He says, "It's awesome to see that Sting Ray is joining us here at AJ Foyt Racing, and I'd like to send a very big welcome. He will be a great addition to our team. Looking forward to on-track testing soon." Signed, BP. Kobe, could we see another legal situation play out here, or does Pedersen moving over to the number 14, the iconic AJ Foyt Racing ride, seem likely?
Ben, when I first saw this Benjamin Pedersen statement come out, I'm thinking, here we go again. It really, I hate to say it, but it really seems like we're trending in that direction, because it's not just Marshall Pruitt. Other media outlets as well have reported that Sting Ray Robb was signed to replace Benjamin Pedersen. It doesn't seem like Benjamin Pedersen is going to be moving over to that number 14 Chevrolet. Not really sure how they're going to do that. I know Marshall Pruitt also had some other excellent reporters saying that that it could be a ride that's shared by Santino Ferrucci on the ovals, and then whenever his World Endurance Championship schedule doesn't conflict, we could see Callum Milot in that 14 as well. So it seems like that's going to be a car shared by others. So, and it doesn't seem like AJ Foyt Racing is going to be adding a third car to the stable anytime soon. So it's like musical chairs, and who's left without a seat? It seems like it's going to be Benjamin Pedersen. Unfortunately, like you were said, Ben, looking at these contracts is really just words on paper because they don't really mean anything nowadays. We covered Alex Palous story multiple times here on Grid Network. Don't need to go into that. We covered Roman Grosjean, the situation, how he signed a multi-year deal with Andretti, but they're in the process of, they have gotten out of that contract, and then Callum Milot and his contract situation getting let go at the very last minute when he didn't have time to get a full-time IndyCar ride. So I think Benjamin Pedersen's chances of moving over to the number 14 Chevrolet is probably very, very unlikely, and it would not surprise me if we see another legal situation play out. I have a feeling we're going to be revisiting this story next year.
Yeah, that statement from Pedersen certainly makes it seem like they're going to be teammates next year, and maybe this is going to be a third car that Sting Ray Robb's going into when you factor in Santino Ferrucci as well. But as you mentioned, Kobe, this doesn't seem like a team that's at a point right now where it would be likely for them to add a third car. So you got to think somebody's going to be the odd man out. No disrespect to Benjamin Pedersen, but based on how their seasons went last year, I would probably think they're more likely to want to keep Ferrucci on board, or maybe there's a situation where he and Callum Milot split that ride, like you were mentioning, Kobe. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this kind of musical chairs plays out. And unfortunately, if Benjamin Pedersen seems to think he's under contract for next year, maybe he actually isn't. We might see another legal battle start to play out in 2024 on the Foyt side of things as well, because goodness knows we certainly haven't had enough of those in the IndyCar series, like you were mentioning.
Yeah, and plus Benjamin Pedersen had a very, very rough rookie year. I believe out of all the full-time drivers, he finished, like at the very end of the point standings. And we know for some rookies, like Sting Ray Robb had a difficult rookie year. Benjamin Pedersen also had a very difficult rookie year. So when you look at the performance aspect, I guess you could understand why AJ Foyt Racing would want to drop a Benjamin Pedersen. And plus, the thing that Sting Ray Robb has going that Benjamin Pedersen doesn't. Sting Ray Robb had a successful road to Indy career. And I'm not saying that Benjamin Pedersen wasn't successful at all, because I remember he won the Indy Next race there at Portland when he was there. That was basically the highlight of his road to Indy career, and he didn't really have hardly anything else to show for it other than that. So Sting Ray Robb certainly showed that he had more potential on the road to Indy than Benjamin Pedersen did.